The Shameless Picture Show is part of the Cinepunks Network. If you like The Shameless Picture Show and you want to hear other great shows like it, make sure you check out the Cinepunks Network. You can find them at www.cinepunks.com. That's CINEPUNX. There's other great shows such as Cinepunks. There's The Carnage Report, Cinema Smorgasbord, Fat Girl Hacks, Loud, Fast, Philly, Tomb of Ideas, and Twitch of the Death Nerve, and so much more. If you like punk rock and you like movies, make sure to go to www.cinepunks.com. And let's not forget the sponsors for the Cinepunks Network. We have the Lehigh Valley Apparel Creations. They are the premier screen printer of the Lehigh Valley with service to the whole country, professional and personable in a way that only a DIY business can be. They also have ridiculously low prices for whatever your screen printing needs may be. You can visit them online at xlvacx.com. That's xlvacx.com. Lehigh Valley Apparel Creations. We also have the Essex Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted to order. They have high quality beans, bunch of apparel, and tea available. They are bringing high quality coffee to the masses without the pretentiousness. Use the code CINEPUNKS for 10% off your first order. You can visit them at www.essexcoffeeroasters.com. That's ESSEX, coffeeroasters.com. Once again, use the code CINEPUNKS for 10% off your first order. This episode is also brought to you by Paramount Pictures. Paramount Pictures is a legendary producer and global distributor of filmed entertainment since 1912. Paramount Pictures' library consists of more than 1,000 film titles with rights to an additional 2,500, featuring films by Hollywood's most respected filmmakers, including Martin Scorsese, J.J. Abrams, and Michael Bay, among others. Paramount Pictures' library consists of more than 1,000 films, including such classics as Star Trek, Godfather, and Indiana Jones franchises. Academy Award winners Braveheart, Forrest Gump, and Titanic, and current favorites such as the Mission Impossible and Transformers franchises. Paramount Pictures distributes its titles on DVD and Blu-ray through Paramount Home Entertainment. We are happy to have them. We fucking love Paramount Pictures.
This movie podcast actually discusses movies. Be aware that it may discuss any of the following elements: endings, surprise twists, unexpected cameos, and all manner of spoilers. If this doesn't appeal to you, why listen to a movie podcast? Without further ado, please enjoy our feature presentation, The Shameless Picture Show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Shameless Picture Show. Hold on, I didn't like how I did that. Take two. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Shameless Picture Show. I am your host, Michael Viers, and joining me today is a man who once described himself as having the motto, more human than human.
Nick Richards!
You're the only person that gets these custom intros.
Oh, bless you, sir.
So when I started writing it, I had to think, I was like, oh shit, I need to actually come up with one. It's been a while since I've had to do one of these. At this point, we've already talked about how everyone's doing. I don't know how much of that's going to stay in, because we talked about a lot, like Nick growing drugs, and me being unsure about my job, and...
You know, the basics.
Yeah, no, the basics. But it's a very special occasion. Anytime we can have Nick back on the show. This show would not exist without him. And I'm so happy to have him on tonight to discuss a film that I believe is on both of our shame lists.
Yes.
Tonight, we're talking Ridley Scott's Blade Runner.
Finally!
I feel like this is a movie that we had on the short list of things to do from the beginning.
From day one. And before we started the podcast, like maybe a year or two before, I bought a copy of this film because I wanted to see it, and I knew I would like it enough to own it. Mm-hmm. So just went ahead and purchased it, and to this day, that copy has not even been opened. I think I ended up not taking it with me in the divorce or something, where like that copy, as far as I know, has never been watched.
For me, I liked this movie. We're burying the lead here. I liked this movie so much that while I was watching it, I was on Amazon looking at the 5-disc special edition that had 4 or 5 different cuts of the movie on there just so I could see them all.
Yep.
I haven't pulled the trigger yet because, like, well, $30 isn't a lot. It's like, that's more than I wanted to pay.
Yeah.
But
$30 still $30.
Exactly. Anyways, the
In
year...
this economy?
The year is 2019. Yes, 2019. Earth is becoming a dystopian wasteland, and people are slowly starting to move off-world to space colonies, which are being worked almost exclusively by bioengineered human beings known as replicants. Replicants. I don't like where my microphone's at. Hold on. I think this sounds better. Replicants are now illegal on Earth and are to be hunted and retired. Rick Deckard is a police officer known as a Blade Runner, whose job it is to investigate and hunt down illegal replicants. 6 replicants have escaped the off-world colonies, and it's Deckard's job to find them. Blade Runner is a seminal work in the world of science fiction, and is extremely important with how it helped popularize the cyberpunk fiction style. Blade Runner did decent upon its release, making $41.8 million at the box office with a $30 million budget. Other notable films released in June of 1982 were Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Grease 2, The Thing, Poltergeist, and E.T. the Extraterrestrial. That is a stacked month.
Yep. And you said that was June?
That was June.
So this film came out the month before I was born.
Apparently, yeah. So that's a stacked month.
I'm another blockbuster that came out the summer of 82.
Star Trek II: The Wrath of Nick.
God!
Blade Runner did well amongst the critics, despite some feeling the plot was secondary to the film's visuals. Pat Berman of Columbia Record described the film as science fiction pornography. And while some critics and audience members didn't quite grasp the film, it's now considered to be one of the greatest sci-fi films of all time, spawning video games, comics, anime spin-offs, a sequel, and the film inspired other such media such as Ghost in the Shell, the video game Perfect Dark, and even Elon Musk's crappy Cybertruck. Blade Runner was written by Hampton Rancher and David Peoples, based on the book Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick, with cinematography by Jordan Cronenweth and music by Vangelis. The film stars Harrison Ford, Rutger Hauer, Sean Young, Edward James Olmos, M. Emmett Walsh, and Daryl Hannah as Pris. Directed by Ridley Scott from 1982, this is Blade Runner.
I need your deck. This is a bad one. The worst yet.
There was an escape from the off-world colonies 2 weeks ago. 6 replicants, 3 male, 3 female. They slaughtered 20...
A Blade Runner's job is to hunt down replicants. Manufactured humans you can't tell from the real thing.
What's this? Roy Batty. Probably the leader.
There was just one outfit making replicants that superhuman. The Tyrell Corporation.
Mr. Deckard, Dr. Eldon Tyrell.
I don't get it, Tyrell.
Commerce is our goal here at Tyrell. More human than human is our motto.
I was looking for 6 replicants in a city of 106 million people.
You ever see this girl, huh? Never seen her, Buzzlove.
What I didn't know was they were looking for me.
Questions.
I just do eyes. Just genetic design. Just eyes.
Hello?
I'm in a bar here now, down in the 4th sector. Why don't you come on down here and have a drink?
That's not my kind of place.
Time to die.
I didn't care more than words can say, if I didn't care, would I feel this way? If this isn't love, then why?
Excuse me, Miss Salome, can I talk to you for a minute?
Are you for real?
He's a damn one-man slaughterhouse.
I'm going home.
Trailer.
So I had no idea what to expect from Blade Runner. I knew it was a sci-fi film. I knew it had a brooding Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And I knew it was like a cyberpunk with some like neo-noir elements. But like I didn't really know what the story was. I kind of had it in my mind that it was an action film.
Okay.
And it's really not. Like there's a really good action sequence near the end of the film, but it's not an action film.
I think I had a similar initial like place going into this where you know the feel of it, but you're not really sure of the content. And then after watching the film, it made sense why I felt that way, because it's so visually, like a lot of their filmmaking energy went into the visuals. As you pointed out with those reviews, there's story stuff that, while there's a lot of really, really interesting things in there, it's what draws you in, what you're left with, like it's all the visual side of things.
Yeah, it's not a plot heavy movie.
Yeah.
Like even some of the things that I said in my description were inference. Like we know that the replicants are working space colonies. I assume it's because people are moving to space colonies, but I don't really like. They don't explicitly say it.
Mining. Been, you know.
They show like signage about going off world and shit. So I made inferences.
There's a line that JF has or is said to him, something about his old organ disease. Oh, that's why you're still on Earth. Like, you weren't able to leave.
Yeah, I imagine, like, Earth is the dregs. The people that are left behind. And, so, like, I had... It's interesting, because it's simultaneously... This movie was, I guess, in a way, kind of what I was expecting it to be. But I also still didn't feel like I was ready for it.
Yeah. Yep, that checks out. So my initial experience with I'd say like the first 20 minutes of the film all came down to seeing 2019 show up on the screen.
Yes.
And like, so a lot of my energy was going into like thinking about the concept of how much people's reaction to this film, and most film set in the future, is like filling in the gap between today and what they're showing, right? How did we get there to that space? And you, as somebody watching it for the first time shortly after 2019, there is no gap anymore. So it's a side-by-side comparison that you're making to everything in the film. So our reaction as first-time viewers in this era, it must be so different to people watching it when it was released.
I feel like, too, Amanda made a joke, 'cause I feel like they state somewhere in the film that it is November of 2019.
Oh, okay.
And Amanda's like, little do they know, in a couple months, they're going to have COVID.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
And yeah, I was thinking about that, too, because, like, I've always that's always been one of the hardest parts of science fiction for me, is whenever a year is chosen. So it's one thing when they were making sci-fi movies, I guess, in the 1950s, and they would choose, like, I don't know, like, the year 2020. Like, yeah, I guess to them that seemed so far off.
Yeah.
But I'm not good at math. Let's do some quick, let's pull my calculator. 2019, subtract 1982. I have a hard time believing that anyone thought in 37 years the world would change this much. And I was struggling with that concept, and I don't think the year hurts the film, but man, I wouldn't have put a year.
I agree, though. I think of all of the experiences I've had with, like, things being set in the future, like hitting that time period and comparing it. I think there were some things in this film in particular that, at least tonally, was kind of right.
Like what? Besides the Cybertruck.
The Cybertruck. The way that they portrayed consumerism and marketing, I thought was truer to what we have now. The enormous video billboards of people just like consume. You know, they...
Yeah, I guess those cityscapes did kind of look like New York now.
Yeah, for the 80s, they didn't have video billboards, but, you know, they kind of hit that right where, like, say Back to the Future has, like, the 3D Jaws shark coming out and, like, like pretending to eat Michael J. Fox. We hit that time, and that isn't true. But video billboards, because it's all about marketing, Coke and, like, memory VHS cassettes, which in the modern
I love the neon JVC signs. I wish I had one.
That felt really on to me.
Yeah, and honestly, like, one thing I do have to give credit to the like costume designers and production designers is, while this is a sci-fi film and there's definitely like science fiction flourishes, it all felt grounded in some sort of level of, I can comprehend this. Because especially at the time in the 80s, you know, the idea of like bioengineering and cloning was a thing that people were talking about. And the idea of growing body parts in a test tube of some sort does not seem too terribly far off from where we're at. Not to the point of...
We've cloned sheep.
Yeah.
You know, like, is that far off than
the
snake that they were creating? Bioengineering.
Exactly. And then, like, the way that people looked and dressed, like, okay, it's not like you're watching Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century or something, where it's all, like, crazy metallics and blues and greens. It's like, oh, no, they're just... Harrison Ford is dressed like a detective with just some tubes and shit hanging out of his coat.
Right. He still was a detective with a gun and a badge,
still
and
eating
not much
Chinese
else.
Food, and
like
the cars did not, other than the fact that they could fly, didn't seem that super advanced. And
they are like, they're working on that tech right now, and there are prototypes of flying cars today. You know, they're just not on the roads like they're portraying it there. The tech is here.
Yeah, and like the fact that some cars still had to drive, I thought it was like that episode of Futurama where Fry found his old hippie van, and he was still driving around on the roads while all the other
Beastie
cars
Boys.
were flying. Yeah,
or no, that was Beck.
Yes, it was Beck. But yes.
Thank you. That song doesn't usually last 3 hours, but we got into a serious thing.
And then I forgot how it ended.
Beautiful.
And it's like, it seems believable. Like, it's not how 2019 was, but like you said, we're not far off.
Like, if I were going to make...
We're closer to Blade Runner than we are Star Trek.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about it through the lens of a stylized noir also, like, let's ignore the sci-fi part because we're now in the present and we've established that the tech and some of the capitalist overtones are similar. Like, so if I were going to make a film about the present, about the tech that, you know, we have now, but make it as a noir, then that takes a lot of the visual exaggeration into account too, which then makes it feel even more real.
Yeah, so like it was interesting how my initial reaction was, I guess for lack of a better term, shock.
Yeah.
But then it was almost become acceptance, like, I can buy this.
Yeah.
And I also appreciate too that while it's a science fiction world, it's still decrepit as fuck.
Right.
Like, these people are fucking struggling. Everything is moist and wet. It's gross. Everything is fucking wet and has puddles.
This is why roof upkeep is so important.
Yeah. Like, when they went to, oh god, someone's apartment. I want to say it was Zora's apartment.
This was the Bradbury apartments.
Yes. It looked like what would now be, or not now, but like, it looked like it was probably a, like, 1950s or 1960s LA building that was still standing that became a slum. It kind of felt like the Stuart Little house in between much bigger and more like polished looking buildings, and they just, everything in this world keeps getting built up and up, and this is just some little slum building with its like 12 floors of nothing. And
so that's an actual place. Oh,
was it? Okay.
Yeah, where they're not just using a place as a set. That is an actual, the Bradbury Apartments is, I started down a rabbit hole on this.
I'm looking it up now.
So
yep, that's it.
So it again is grounding this future, this cyberpunk styled future in the reality of LA. You know, in our realm, in our world.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a fictionalized, made up city. This is, and it's not just that they say LA, like, it is actually our LA with our LA landmarks, but in this decrepit future.
Yeah, no, it's kind of interesting, just the way things were perceived and looked, because like I said, I'm gonna keep repeating back this point. It's something that I can kind of grasp my hand on too.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too watching this movie in 2024 with Deckard hunting down these replicants and just how that feels in this climate with hunting down these replicants who, I think it's hinted at in this movie that these replicants have killed people, but replicants
they do say it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, they say that these replicants have killed people, but they're illegal anyways. So even if they wouldn't have done that, the simple fact that they're back on Earth is enough for them to be criminally charged and potentially killed.
Yeah. And it's established, at least for the replicants that we're introduced to, that they are an oppressed people. They're called slaves in the beginning.
Yeah.
And so this like police hunting an oppressed group of people has a lot of like very serious connections to modern day that again like this was being talked about in the early 1980s, where while this was still a very hot topic, certainly, I think they did a really surprisingly accurate job of projecting out what they were saying about the relationship between police and people of color back then, and projecting it out what'd you say, 37 years?
Yeah.
In a kind of eerie way.
No, it definitely is. And then, like, I was even trying to figure out, like, whose side was the movie on?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't help but feel for these replicants. Like, they only get a life for 4 years.
I think they made a very strong and compelling argument that while I think that in the end, at least my take on it, is that they didn't want to portray any one person as a good person or a bad person, and they actually speak to this. Roy's character in that final confrontation asks Deckard, like, I thought you were supposed to be a good man. Are you a good man? Like, are you gonna shoot me and kill me? So those themes are in there, and I think it's all very intentional.
Yeah, this is a movie that I knew I was gonna like. I was not expecting to be as floored by it as I was, and just it's really been sticking with me. And like I love, Roy Batty. He is the quote unquote bad guy in this movie, but he's one of those. He's kind of like a Thanos-like character where you're like, he makes a lot of good points, and Deckard is. I just want to talk about Harrison Ford's performance in this movie,
sure, yeah,
because he is such kind of a blank slate.
So I was actually just thinking on some notes that I made while I was watching it about how Roy has so much more character development than Harrison Ford's character does. Like, Harrison Ford is the noir detective who's just like, I'm gonna do every beat in the noir handbook.
Mm-hmm.
But the Roy is where all of the theme and substance of this film comes from. And Deckard is still the protagonist, but there's no development in Roy. So it's very fascinating that I realized I was struggling because there's some stuff in here that really, really excited me that I wish they did more of.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me looking at the movie through the lens of it being a noir film first to kind of feel okay with that, because then it's a noir film that they did something really, really interesting with, rather than like them trying to do something really heady and then they failed to deliver on, which is kind of the space I was in before.
Yeah.
So like now that I'm thinking about it as a noir, it becomes much more fascinating.
It definitely does. And I've never thought much about Rutger Hauer as an actor. I've never disliked him. I can't think of him as anything other than the bad guy in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Right. Kind of a Billy Idol-esque energy.
Yeah. Like, he's never bad. He's never like it just. But he's Rutger Hauer. He's a personality. He was so fucking good in this movie.
Amazing.
And like, I've always heard about the Tears in the Rain speech before, but hearing about it out of context, then watching it in the context of this film. And like, so just the interplay between Deckard and Roy in that final sequence in that decrepit building, where at any point you feel like Roy could easily kill Deckard.
Absolutely.
And chooses not to. But that is also his eventual downfall. It's like, if he would have finished it sooner, it'd be whatever. But he didn't want to.
So I spent a lot of time my processing time on that after the film ended on that very idea, because he he killed people before we know he's killed people before we're introduced to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he kills his father with very little fanfare. He like says, "Are you going to save my life?" Has a very, like, plays that out for a very short period of time and kind of goes, "Okay, you're not going to," and then just fucking kills him.
Yeah.
And it's not because he doesn't have, like, he displays how he feels like that is his father, that is his creator.
Mm-hmm.
And while it may not be love, there is that childlike relationship to him.
It's Ma from Futurama.
Yes, exactly. Everything comes back to Futurama.
It really does. That or The Simpsons.
What about EMS recombination?
We've already tried it. Ethyl methane sulfonate is an alkylating agent and a potent mutagen. It created a virus so lethal the subject was dead before he left the table.
Then a repressor protein that blocks the operating cells.
Wouldn't obstruct replication, but it does give rise to an error in replication so that the newly formed DNA strand carries the mutation and you've got a virus again. But all of this is academic. You were made as well as we could make you.
But not to last.
The light that burns twice as bright burns half as long. And you have burned so very, very brightly, Roy. Look at you. You're the prodigal son. You're quite a prize.
I've done questionable things.
Also extraordinary things. Revel in your time.
Nothing the god of biomechanics wouldn't let you in heaven.
So when he also Deckard kills his friend, his love, maybe, he certainly mourns the loss of Pris, and knows that Deckard killed her. All he does for revenge for Pris is breaking his finger.
Yeah,
that's it.
That
kind of says we're even.
Yeah, like that was something that me and Amanda were talking about, like just that level of confidence or cockiness to break he breaks two of his fingers.
Yeah.
One for Pris, one for the other replicant. Can't think of his name. Gives him back his gun and puts his hand back through. It's like, okay, let's continue.
So that shows two things to me. One, that while I think he hasn't ruled out killing Deckard, that's not his intention.
Yeah.
He killed his father. He says, "I'm going to kill you," killed you, didn't even think about it, like, he went for it. He didn't come there to kill Deckard, or when Deckard arrived, he is not going to kill him, but he does want to play with him.
Yeah.
He wants to play a game. He says so, that some of his lines are very like, you have to play the game, like, we are playing a game together right now.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's that chess board when he kills his father.
I was thinking of that chessboard, yeah.
And Roy is the one that tells JF
Sebastian?
What move to make on the chessboard. But he's not, it shows that he is aware, he is participating in the game, but this is not a game to Roy.
I love that scene where he tells JF what the move is, because in that moment, Terrell is like, wait, this is way more, this is way more of an advanced move than Sebastian would ever get.
Yep. So
he knows something's up in that moment.
He wasn't playing a game with his father. He was there as a means to an end. He said that chess move as a means to an end, and that was to say, "Father, give me more life, and if not, I'm going to kill you."
And then that scene, too, of Terrell, when Roy is like bringing up, is like, try this. And he's like, we've tried that. Like he has so much confidence.
Yeah.
It's like, you have this killer replicant here, and you're just showing no fear whatsoever.
Or
at least no like outward fear.
Yeah, no, I think he sees it as his like potential comeuppance. I think this is something that creator struggled with, because the way that he talked about trying to solve for this problem, it's clearly something that he has put a lot of mental energy into.
Mm-hmm.
And something that the way that he responds to Roy, I think he was thinking like, this is where all of that catches up to me. I think he knew what was going to happen and was accepting of it.
Yeah. He knew at some point one of his creations would come for him.
And says so when Roy walks in, says something to the effect of like, I'm surprised you didn't come sooner, or something. It was like he knew there were replicants on Earth, and of course they're gonna come find me and kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he was ready for that.
Yeah.
So when Roy comes up against Deckard, I think he has no motivation to kill Deckard, even for the purpose of self-preservation, because he knows he's going to die soon.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and then he has that conversation with him, like, about, I thought you were a good man. So Roy is thinking about the ethics of taking life.
Yeah.
Like, this is all going through Roy's head. And he
And
probably debating for himself, what is a good person? What is a bad person? What is the cost of taking somebody's life as he feels the heaviness of killing his own father.
And you're absolutely right. I had never really considered where the Deckard baddie confrontation comes in that film. It's at a point where he has no other choice. Not no other choice, but like the only person that could have potentially saved him is dead.
Yep.
There's nothing else he can do to get more life. He's not fighting for self-preservation. Like, what, get you maybe another year or two of life?
At the end, he dies because his time runs out, doesn't it?
You're right.
Like, I think that's... So he knows he doesn't even... He might not know exactly how many hours versus days or something, but he knows it's imminent. Mm-hmm. He knows his 4 years is almost up.
Yeah, so... Yeah, it just really adds to a whole another level to that final confrontation, because for Deckard, it is a life and death situation. For Roy, it's just nothing.
With that Tears in the Rain, all of that stuff adds the meaning to what he's saying there of, I have all this information, I have all of these things that you have not seen that you could never imagine. The things that even the audience doesn't get to see.
Yeah. I have the exact speech written right here.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the 10-house gate. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain. Time to die.
And there's no reason for him to kill Deckard, but when in those final moments, what he does is, I think he tries to reach out to Deckard a little bit. Certainly saves his life, and then says, this is what you humans are losing in treating us this way.
Yeah.
And there's, that's just one possible interpretation. I think there's a lot of ways to interpret Roy's motivations in that moment, but
I love a movie like this that doesn't necessarily spell things out. Like, it spells out enough that someone can go to this movie and just watch the film in its surface value and get something out of it. But it's a movie that you get more out of the more you go back and rewatch it.
Yeah.
And
more possibilities open up, more little clues to consider.
And then and that comes with all the different cuts of this film too.
Sure.
Like I said, I've only watched the final cut, which is supposed to be Ridley Scott's definitive version of the film.
Okay.
But like the original theatrical cut apparently has a narration that makes things very on the nose. That Harrison Ford did not want to do.
Interesting.
They essentially pulled him into the booth kicking and screaming because he didn't want to do it. He thought it undermined the director's intent.
Interesting. And now I want to see that version and see if like all of this stuff that I'm saying is then like coded on way too heavily.
Yeah. And another thing too, so when we talked about watching this version, we chose it for, well, one, it's the most easily accessible version of the film available. But then two, they had made reference to a unicorn dream sequence.
Yep.
And this is something I definitely want to talk about. By removing that sequence, it changes kind of a potentially a big plot point in this film of whether or not people believe Deckard to be a human or a replicant.
And speaks to the title of the original novel, while not electric sheep, like, does this replicant dream? Yes.
Because I've been thinking about that quite a bit, and from what I read, apparently on set, Harrison Ford and Ridley Scott were having arguments back and forth about whether or not Deckard is a replicant.
Okay.
And the way Harrison Ford tells it is they eventually settled on their argument that he is not. But then Ridley Scott has come out later on to say that he believes that Deckard is. And I think that unicorn sequence kind of points in that direction, because not only does he have that dream, but then Edward James Olmos's character Goff leaves him a origami unicorn at the end of the film, and they've established that non-replicants can see the dreams of replicants.
Okay. There's also the way that Deckard described it in terms of his work of trying to identify replicants, of the memories that they have, the visions that they see of those being kind of implanted from a human. So it's like Harrison Ford's character knows the dreams that they would have because of the spider with the green and the orange or whatever it was. Where it's maybe different models have different memories programmed into them, but where somebody with the right knowledge would be able to identify, like, yep, oh yeah, that's the dreams from the Nexus 4 series or whatever. I'm rambling out possibility right now, but
yeah, one of the more interesting theories I read online was people believing that Deckard is actually a replicant with Goff's memories. And he was that's one theory, is that Goff was the replicant hunter, but then after an injury, he can't finish this job, so they make a replicant that have all of his memories and his skills.
Interesting.
And have him go do it, which is the reason there is this quiet dislike between the two of them throughout this movie.
And you know so little about that character. Like, that he drives them around, that he
makes origami figures. And...
Yep. And that he also works at the department. That's about all you know.
Yeah. It's like I said, there's just so much to chew on with this movie that I meant to, just for my own enjoyment, meant to actually watch Blade Runner 2049 before this.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to discuss it, like maybe bring it up a little bit, but I just want more of this world because I'm enjoying it so much. Only thing that stopped me was the fact that Blade Runner was what less than 2 hours long, give or take.
Yeah.
Blade Runner 2049 is just shy of 3.
Nice.
It's like, oh, let's just add a whole extra hour.
I think I've been continuing to think about this, like, there's something that this movie is missing that a lot of films have. And it's things like really simple things, like when Roy suddenly has the dove in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
They don't show Roy ever grabbing that dove. They just cut to him and he's suddenly holding a dove, right?
Yeah, I noticed that.
The way that this film, and that's just one example. The editing, what they choose to put in versus what they choose not to put in, it makes the storytelling kind of disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
And typically when a film does something like that, it's detrimental to my viewing experience. This is a case where it adds to the experience. While it certainly has an impact on the style, I'm talking more about my takeaway of the story itself, because I think they did it in smart ways where the gaps that we fill in make the story more dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's why you can interpret it in different ways. I think it was done really intelligently, and I think it's part of what makes the film so memorable for me.
I completely agree. And yeah, like I said, I think this is a movie I'm going to return to every so often and just keep pulling new little things out. And it's kind of how I felt when I watched Apocalypse Now for the first time for this show, where it's like, oh, there's a lot on the surface, but there's even more to it when you start scratching beneath it. And
that's a really apt comparison. I too felt the same kind of, like, I'm excited to continue to, like, process this film.
Yeah. And much like Apocalypse Now, it's a movie that has multiple cuts that I can enjoy over time.
Right. That's actually really interesting. I wonder if storytelling of this nature lends itself to wanting to be cut in different ways.
Yeah, that's a good question. Because I've always been fascinated by movies that have multiple cuts. And not just, director's cut versus the theatrical cut, but like extensively different cuts and viewpoints, and creators constantly feeling like they want to tinker and try to find the best version of that story, especially when it's a story that's not so obvious.
Yeah.
Sometimes they make it more subtle, sometimes they make it less subtle, sometimes something as simple as adding, this is not the only thing that was added, but adding a dream sequence back into the movie adds something to it's interesting. And I know a lot of film fans out there really hate when creators go back and change films, because they're like, well, I want the version that I grew up loving or what have you.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating. Yeah, do I believe that all the other versions should still be available in some way? Sure. But I as a creator myself, I weirdly get this desire and this need to be changing and constantly tinkering, and I'll go back to my own stuff and be like, oh, what if I changed this a little bit and I tweaked this and tinkered this? And Francis Ford Coppola is constantly on a rediscovery right now, of rediscovering his own work and finding finding what made him want to make this project and turn whatever he ended up creating into something that was more reminiscent of why he wanted to do something.
And I think for so many creators of any medium, like something that you put so much passion into is never really done. Mm-hmm. There's just a point where you walk away from it, or you're forced to walk away from it, but you're never, ever, it's never done.
No. Some people, I think, are just better at putting the bow on it.
Sure.
Some filmmakers are like, well, it is what it is. That's what I made. And I think other people probably like still see the potential. And hell, to the point, like, Alfred Hitchcock remade his own movie. The man who made too much. The man who made too much. That's funny. The man who knew too much. He made two different versions of that movie.
Okay.
So I don't know.
And I've seen a similar thing with the plein air painters that come to our festival, where they paint it, and it's an interesting conversation to have with them about, like, they'll sign the painting, and when you sign it, it's done, and then they do something else, and then all right, it's done, and then they make one more mark, and it's like they can't walk away from it either. There's always something to tweak. There's always something. There's always a way for you to push the messaging that you're hoping for, or the look that you're hoping for. Like, you can always make it more of what you're trying to make it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think art is ever fully done.
Because there's not like a right-wrong, right? There's not like a, you did the thing. It's because it's amorphous and interpretable and abstract, even, not in the art sense of abstract, but we have that need for it to be as good as it could be, and that's not an achievable moment.
And then for me, I can only speak for myself here. I also have that fear of, what if I make a change and the previous version was better?
Oh, yeah.
So, me and Manda right now are writing a script together, and she'll do a pass, and then I'll go into revision mode and make changes. But then I'm always like, well, what if what she had written was better? Yeah. So I instinctually just save a PDF file of every draft.
Yeah, sure.
So that way it's never fully gone. But that way, if I go over and rewrite something completely, it's not completely gone.
I worked on a script with a filmmaking friend of mine and family member, and I wrote a full first draft, and that's when I went into production on normal. So I kind of handed it off to him. He said, "Hey, is it cool if I have another writer do a couple more passes on it?" I said, "Yeah, that's totally fine." A very talented writer, very talented filmmaker. I really respect everything that he's done, though I don't think I've ever met him in person. He changed it quite a bit, and then they sent it over to me once I was done with production and said, "Hey, we changed this more than we were expecting, so we wanted to see if you wanted to do a final pass on it." I said, "Absolutely." And I ended up chucking like the entire second and third act and rewrote it over again. It wasn't what I wrote originally.
But you were inspired by what they wrote.
Yeah, but what they wrote was not in line with what I really, what I felt was important about the story, so I just trashed it. I sent it back to them, and they're like, "Wow, okay, we weren't expecting that." But then the two of us ended up collaborating and getting to write it together at that point, and that was I think both of us saw stuff in what the other person wrote that we really enjoyed and respected, and it made for a really cool partnership.
Yeah, and actually I had something like that when I made my film No Soliciting. My friend Dick, who wrote the film, he gave me a couple scripts, and I read them, and I liked that one the best. And we got to just a certain point where rewrites had to happen.
Yeah.
And he was just too busy, so I was like, well, what? I asked for his blessing first. I was like, can I go in and do the rewrites? And he goes, yeah, sure, go for it. And the version that I wrote next, which I sent to him, that I wanted his approval for,
Yep.
it was just flat out the wrong thing. It's like he's like I like what you wrote here. This is not what I was going for.
Right.
And I would appreciate if we can try to keep it close to what it was originally. I was like, cool, can do. So then I went back and did a third draft and found a nice combination of the two.
Nice.
But so yeah, it's this is a long tangent to just pretty much say that leave these creators alone.
Creators gonna create.
Let them do it. Leave George Lucas alone. Yeah, it sucks that he won't release the theatrical cuts of his films, and at this point it's not even him. He doesn't own them anymore. It's Disney now.
Right.
Yeah, that sucks. But at the same time, I have respect for someone who's just like, I'm not happy with this yet.
Right.
And yeah, millions upon millions of people liked Star Wars the way that they saw it, but it's not easy when you don't. Mm-hmm. When you put something out in the world that you just don't love. It's like falling out of love with someone.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Nick, do you have anything else to talk about with Blade Runner?
Oh, yeah. I'm only like a quarter of the way done.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Can we talk about Roy as a Christ figure?
Of course.
So, some clear imagery in that final sequence. There's the crucifixion, the nail through the hand, which does not seem to have any fucking point within the story.
No.
It's just like, ow, I can feel that I'm dying. No, not yet. I know. I'll shove doesn't make sense.
It makes sense while you're watching. It was like, as you're watching, like, yeah, that makes sense. But then when you think about it, it's like, wait
a minute. What?
It makes no sense.
So there's that imagery of crucifixion. Then also back to the dove that he's just like randomly holding as this like sign. It could be a sign of rebirth. Like doves are a sign of peace. That you associate. There's like plenty of pictures of like Jesus painted with a dove. There's
Jesus like birds.
He's a bird guy. So there's that. So if I also thought there was another interesting connection there. If you see Roy as Jesus, then his father is God, which he is. He is the creator of this entire like race of beings. If you think of the replicants through that lens, so. I ran out of steam, but I've noticed that imagery. I made the connection to those characters, and I guess I'm interested in continuing to explore the idea. Like, okay, if he is a Christ figure, what implication does that have on the rest of the story that I haven't yet watched through that lens?
Yeah, and I noticed some of these images. And it's one of those things that like I'm just used to these images being there because I feel like a lot of filmmakers, even when they're not intending to, are like trying to like wrestle with their opinions on faith and religion. Yeah. So like sometimes it's just there by accident. A friend of mine did that to me one time when I wrote this slasher film, and she's like, well. And it's because she's very religious, and she's like, "Do you want to know what you actually wrote about?" Like, yes. So it happens. Sometimes you could just be exploring things accidentally. It reminds me of that scene in Dewey Cox where he's like, "I'm working through something." So I hadn't viewed it that way, but now I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it with that intent.
Yeah.
One thing Amanda wanted me to make sure I brought up was Deckard's just insanely advanced zoom and enhance programming.
Oh my god.
And then
enhance and
then like
zoom,
and then it's like moving the picture a little bit so you can see in the reflection, and then it printed off a shitty Polaroid. I have a list on Letterboxd just dedicated to movies that use zoom and enhance.
I love it. And this one made it.
Yes, it did. What else is on your list, Nick?
What else do I got here? I don't for one second believe any part of the Deckard-Rachel love story.
Not at all.
What tiny bit there was super rapey.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And then...
questionable consent.
There was that scene, and then the next time they were like, oh yeah, these two are in a relationship. He's like, do you love me? Do you trust me? It's like, why would she feel that way?
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Super forced, super unsupportive.
Well, like Deckard, am I right?
Oh. I wrote here, it's a film that would rather set tone than explain how people got to where they are or why they are doing what they do.
Oh, definitely. It is pure. I think I said to Amanda as we were watching this, it's like, oh, this movie is just a movie that's all vibes.
Yeah.
It's all vibes.
In the modern parlance.
Yeah, it's all vibes. That's it. Which I guess is kind of what a lot of noir was. Just fucking vibes for days. Yep. Yeah. But can we... I do want to talk about Daryl Hannah's Pris and how fucking cool she was. And how frightening she was with that fucking black makeup on her eyes.
Right.
And, just beating the shit out of Deckard. If there was ever an argument for the reason why Deckard's not a replicant, is because he fucking sucks at fighting. He keeps getting his ass kicked. He's being thrown through things, just being tossed around.
But he did successfully kill Pris.
He did, yes.
He survived her spinning his head around, and now I think she wasn't trying to kill him in that moment either.
It's like a cat playing with a bug,
right? But the fact that she was not afraid of him, seemingly, but he still got the kill in, shows that maybe he does have faster reflexes or, something to... I could see an argument.
It's the wrong franchise, but I just kept waiting for Deckard after every scene just to get up, look at the camera, and be like, I'm getting too old for this shit. And also, like, Deckard's goofy impression that he did when he was talking to the exotic dancer.
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
It was like, out of nowhere, that voice just comes out of Harrison Ford, and it's like, and it reminds me of Kurt Russell in Big Trouble in Little China when he's infiltrating the whorehouse, actually.
I was actually thinking it reminded me of Ghostbusters 2 when Venkman is talking about, like, needing a love potion to lure a certain penthouse pet or something like that. Is in the same kind of weird, creepy voice.
And it was just so out of nowhere, and it's a type of role that it's a type of voice I don't think I've ever seen Harrison Ford do before.
Right.
Crazy.
Very dreamlike and hypnotic.
Yes, and that's one of the things I liked so much about it. It's, like, I don't think you ever saw daylight in this movie, not including when it's shining through a window, because that could be simulated.
Right.
Like, you never see it daytime. Everything is just neon bleached and hypnotic.
Mm-hmm.
And the music really plays into that.
Yes.
It's like,
it
sometimes very kind of synthy, other times very angelic, and God, I don't think there were, but at times I felt like there's like Gregorian chants going on. Right. And with that in mind, it's the whole film feels dreamlike. Yeah.
Which, again, would be an interesting lens to watch the film through. Is like not to say that they're literally saying that the whole thing is a dream, but why does the whole film have a very dreamlike quality? What does that mean for the narrative?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like dreamlike quality, very open-ended ending. The movie just kind of begins. Like, there's no setup. We don't really get to know who Deckard is. We just know he's quote-unquote retired. He just shows up. You're, like, in the middle of another movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fascinating.
So one more big topic before we wrap up. I also found the clown imagery really interesting.
Oh, God. They're just so unsettling.
there's this scene where you in JF's place where it's kind of like the entire evolution of automatons.
Automatons. That's how I've always heard them pronounced, but
and many of them have that clown-like look, including Pris, who we see turn herself into a clown, and then when she's fighting Deckard, kind of acts in a clown-like way with the backflips and the thigh holds. It's playing, like you said, but in a very clown-like way. And then when Roy finds Pris's dead body, her clown makeup runs off onto him, and then with her blood, he draws the additional face paint across his lips, kind of putting him in that clown-like place, which again adds to how he is playing with Deckard towards the end. It's very, very playfully, very clown-like, and that. So, like, between the murder of his father and then the death of Pris, there is this, like, very poignant change moment where he takes on that clown-like persona of the automatons, and something that you could say is like going feral for a replicant, going back to its baser version of itself.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like when I was back in film school, I did a lot of reading and research into the idea of the commedia dell'arte.
Yeah.
The comedy of life or the comedy of profession, or however you want to translate it. And it's just to find the humor in life and death, and everything is so drab and colorless and terrible, and they have such a short time to live that it's almost like they're trying to find little pockets of joy within this shitty life, because they have even less of it than anyone else.
What else do you have? Like with the death of Roy and the death of the person that could have possibly helped them, who claimed that there wasn't, like, they have nothing else to do but look for that.
Yeah.
Do you have a Thrill House moment?
Thrill House moment. This has been a hard movie to find a Thrill House moment for, because like I've been trying to think of like what point was I hooked, because I don't know if I was hooked from the very beginning, but I wasn't not hooked.
I feel that.
Honestly, I feel like the moment that stands out to me, that as being like a moment where my perception of this movie was changing, was when Pris was introduced into this film, and and then when she meets J.F. Sebastian and he takes her back to his home, and we see those weird automatons, the replicants, whatever you want to call them, or they didn't really establish if those were robots, if those were people that he made. We don't know what they are.
Right. Toys, he called them.
Yeah, but like when she goes back there, and then shortly after Roy is introduced to the film, there seemed to be almost a ticking clock on the film, because here we have we've knew that Deckard was hunting these people down. They have now been introduced to this film, and it's almost like the chase is on.
Yeah. Cool.
How about you?
Well, before I get to mine, you brought up something that I did want to just throw a quick thought on. It felt way too coincidental to me that Pris just happened to like run into JF in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way that when Roy finally walks into the place, is like, oh, this is my friend that I was telling you about. Now tell me where your boss lives. You know, like, given how Pris and JF met, I can't make sense that was coincidence, but I also can't make sense of that having been intentional the way it played out. So I don't know.
The
what
only
to
thing
make
I
of
could
that.
think of is because when we were first introduced to Pris, she's walking down that alley and she's acting in a very cowardice way.
Yeah,
that is not who her character turns out to be, and she's hiding. And I almost wonder if they had staked out J.F. Sebastian, knew where he was, but they needed him to invite her,
right?
And let his guard down.
That when we're first introduced to Pris, she is already luring him.
Yes.
That's
just inference. We don't know, obviously.
Yep.
But that version of Pris versus, the badass doing flips and crushing dudes with her thighs is not the same Pris as the beginning of this film.
No, that's a really good point.
And Sebastian seems like a recluse who probably wouldn't invite someone he's afraid of back to his home.
Yeah. And
he needs that power.
Yeah, they don't even need anything from JF except to get him to bring them to the father. I don't remember the character's name, but so they kind of have to befriend him. They need to gain his trust.
Yeah, because he probably won't help them any other way. He'll probably die, but he's no good to them dead.
Yeah, exactly. So my Thrill House moment was not unrelated to yours, and I think what's interesting about it is typically my Thrill House moment is that what I end up loving about the film where that first took hold. And for me, it's kind of unrelated to all the things that got me excited about the film, but just it was mostly the visuals of when they first go in to JF's place, and you're introduced to his creations, his toys.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they're kind of like, just kind of prancing around in the darkness and skittering from room to room.
I like the one who keeps running into the doors and going,
yeah, right? It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, you think it's creepy, but then you're also like, but I'm never really creeped out by them. It's such a weird energy, and that was the moment where I was like, okay, yep, this is... I gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm in.
And I'd be remiss to mention if I didn't give a shout-out to James Hong, who appears randomly in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
As Hannibal Chu. That man just appears... He just appears in everything,
yeah,
and he looks old all the time, no matter what.
Now I know who you're talking about.
Much love to James Hong. Still kicking, doing well.
Wow.
Yeah, he was born in 1929.
Holy shit.
Yep. He has been in more films than anyone knows what to do.
Right.
So, good for him. Yeah, so I think that's Blade Runner, Nick.
I think that's Blade Runner, yeah. It was a good one.
It was, and this was a daunting movie to try to do an episode on, because it's one of those movies that, like, if we would have came in and did maybe like 20-30 minutes of discussion, that would make complete sense. But it's also like a movie that we could, with more prep time, we probably could have done even longer.
Yeah, no, this is one of the kind of films that I actually was not the least bit worried of filling the time on this one. It hits me in all of the ways that I like to continue thinking about and talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Weekend at Bernie's was a fun watch, but that was a struggle to get more than it was not as good as I thought it was going to be.
Oh my god, with that reputation of that movie,
right?
Weekend at Bernie's.
That film not
Weekend at Bernie's, man, that was the beginning of the end. Nick's like, no more of this show. I'm leaving.
I can't take it anymore.
Weekend at Bernie's nearly ruined us.
But Blade Runner brought it all back together.
Exactly.
That and a very Brady Christmas.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah.
All right, Nick. I just love having you on this show whenever you can make time for me. We'll have to get you on again soon, and we'll have to start planning our Christmas episode because we're about halfway done with the year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be here before we know it.
So we'll have to start planning that because you don't have a choice in that. You don't have a choice. You are coming back for Christmas every year.
I am thrilled to be pinned down, so absolutely.
That was sexy. I like that. All right, Nick. I know you're not on social media, so there's no point in people looking for you. If you want to talk to Nick, reach out to me. I'll send him the message.
You'll have to send a certified letter to a comic book shop in Baltimore.
Such a deep cut. I love you for remembering that. So yeah, and for me, you can find me pretty much everywhere. For Nick's reclusiveness, I am extra visible.
You're making up for both of us.
Yep, I'm on Letterboxd, Viers10 2008. I'm on Instagram at Viers Michael_Viers, and Shameless Picture Show is technically there as well, but I just use it as a place to dump all the videos and stuff I'm making. TikTok at Shameless Picture Show. You can find me on Facebook. Come say hi. And
if you say anything nice about me, Michael will relay it to me.
Yep. And if you say anything mean, I'll also relay
fuck
it.
You.
Yeah, we'll send you mean letters if you say anything mean about Nick. But yeah, as always, guys, thank you very much for listening, and make sure you tune in next time. Shame Place, Shameless Picture Show.
The Shameless Picture Show is recorded in Milwaukee, Wisconsin and Easton, Maryland, and is hosted and produced by Nick Richards and Michael Viers. Today's episode was edited by Michael Viers. Our opening theme music was written especially for us by The Directionals, with narration by Zach McClain. The end credit music you're enjoying at the moment was generously provided by my friends in the band 10 Speed. The Shameless graphic design is masterfully done by Amanda Viers. An extra special thank you to all of our Patreon supporters and to our generous sponsors. We are on Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, Google Play, and Libsyn. You can find links for all these amazing people in the description below.